Good afternoon, this is David Fisher for the Derbyshire Cricket Heritage Project. It's the 6th of June 2018 and we're at the delightful Buxton Cricket Club and we're with
Bob Marsden, and I'm chairman of the club at the moment.
At the moment, that sounds a bit ominous. Do you enjoy it?
Only that I'm conscious that there's many people have gone before at this club. We've been here since 1853, so there's a huge number of people who've looked after this great ground and been involved in running the club, and I'm just part of the people at the moment.
Like they say, you're as it were, you're custodian rather than.
Yeah, absolutely, and I'm very conscious of that actually. Very conscious of that. You know, we play here. We enjoy this great ground, which was left in trust for the playing of sport. This ground, given by the Duke of Devonshire. As indeed the Duke of Devonshire gave most of Buxton for one reason or another, for one thing or another, and we're now we are a joint club with bowls and tennis. We have our separate sections, but yeah.
So you've got a good kind of social rapport with each section?
Yeah, I think that actually inevitably there are sometimes things that we don't quite see eye to eye, but generally actually at the moment, you know, the three clubs are working very well together, and actually. The state of the ground is, I think, better than it's ever been.
Yeah, it's certainly a lovely day. Nice greenery around the place, neatly mown pitches.
It looks good.
Yeah, it does look good.
It looks
so
good.
You've got ground staff who care about being here.
Yeah, well, you've just met some of them. We've got two volunteers, two retired guys who come in and do the wickets and the square, and you know, a number of people. We're very concerned to keep the surrounds, because I think that really is what marks out a ground actually. Generally squares are well kept now, but you look around keeping things on top of things, and this is a vast area, but we have lots of help.
Great. So when did you become, when was your first connection with Buxton CC?
Well, I came to the club I came to the town in 1999, and interestingly I wasn't intending to play cricket, though cricket has been a big part of my life. But you know, like most clubs, Buxton, you know, they were looking out for players, and somebody said to me, why don't you play? And I said, I'll play one game in three, and then really from then I just got back involved.
You started to get good at it again?
Yeah, I mean, I've had periods when I've played a lot and then not played, partly because I've been a teacher and I actually ran cricket and did a lot of coaching of cricket when I didn't play, but at other times I've played a lot and I've played a good standard of club cricket. But, you know, I came here and it's been brilliant to be involved at the club here, absolutely brilliant.
Just going back a bit further then, just a short outline of your first memories of cricket, and how did you get involved in the game?
Well, I am very thankful. I had a father who was a cricket lover, a cricket player and a cricket lover. We played cricket in the back garden. I had a grandfather who was a member of the MCC, and so a lot of my early memories were at Lord's. I lived in London. So I played and was watching cricket, and you know, I was reasonably good. I mean, you know, there's no point in not saying. I mean, I've played probably the highest standard of club cricket, so I've just been involved in one way or another, either playing or coaching or administration, all of my life.
Yeah, it's been the family thing. You're born into it.
And I had two sons.
Still love it after all, don't you?
I had two sons, Johnny and Ben, who have both been very involved in cricket, and my wife Julia says to me, what would happen if you had daughters and they'd been ballerinas? I'd have said, well, I've been interested in ballet, but as it is, Johnny and Ben have both been great cricketers, and Johnny's had an involvement playing second team cricket for the county and then a little bit at Chesterfield, so it's been great to be involved with Derbyshire cricket a bit more. Yeah.
And then you came in you said 1999, just as a I'll help out sort of thing, and you just couldn't do just help out.
Well, interestingly, I use myself as an example of what I think a lot of clubs want to happen. A lot of clubs, you know, they hear somebody's played cricket in the past. Will you come and play? I said, well, I'll play one, you know, game one Saturday in three, and they got me back playing. And okay, I was 40, but I was a good player. There's no point in saying I was a reasonable player, and I enjoyed it.
Just for the ladies and gentlemen, his name is actually on the honours board in the clubhouse.
Well, yeah. Yeah, there's a story about that actually, but you know, interestingly though, a lot of clubs a lot of clubs are struggling for players, and we've got a big thing with retaining teenagers. Interestingly, I think we probably don't tap into all the people who've had some contact with cricket in the past and get them back playing. And we've actually had quite a lot of success getting dads back playing. So the other week in our third team, we had 4 dads and lads playing together, which is great, you know. And
Get the family spirit going.
Yeah, and that draws people in. We'd love to have more girls playing and mums playing, you know, because I think that's a great initiative that the ECB have driven in terms of girls cricket.
I was going to come on and mention that later, but now you're in this administrative position. How did you come by that?
Well, basically, I mean, I've been when I came here and began to get involved, I played, and you know, you get involved, you care about cricket, and you care about this ground actually, because it is a magnificent and historic ground, and you want the best for it. You want the best for the club, and there are lots of other people working on it. I think it's really important. Clubs exist on people, often a few key people who put in a lot of hours. They have the stories, often things that have happened in the past, and they contributed enormously. And you know, I just wanted the club to thrive. Interesting, my 2 boys were beginning to play, and we hadn't got any juniors here at Buxton. The juniors started, and I wanted them to play here and get involved.
Did you have any coaching role at this point?
I had coached a lot at schools, the schools I've been involved in. So what happened with me was that I was playing, I did a bit of coaching in the juniors, and also actually for me, I knew the club had to get Club Mark. If you know,
just explain Club Mark.
Yeah, Club Mark is a kind of Sport England. Well, it's a generic thing about how well run clubs are. They have to satisfy various criteria. Club Mark is the cricket version of it, run by ECB. You know, whether you've got good safeguarding, whether you've got good coaching, whether you're run well, a number of different criteria. And interestingly, I knew that in order for us to go forward as a club, we had to get Club Mark. And though in parts it's a complete pain, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this on a DCB interview process, but
no pain, no gain.
No. In fact, as a mechanism for changing the club for the better, it was invaluable. Whether it was safeguarding, whether it was saying what are we doing in terms of coaching, the organisation of coaching, even do we have a 5-year plan? What are we aiming to do in 5 years? Which was in the Club Mark thing, and so we were able to think as a committee. What are we trying to do? Where are we trying to be in 5 years? So I think all of those things are valuable. So I got involved, and I've been the safeguarding officer, I've been the secretary. We also, I want to keep saying there are lots of people working hard, volunteers, working hard. One of the things that I said to the club is, we've struggled for players, and so rather counterintuitively I said, we were struggling to get a second team out. I said, well, therefore you've got to run a third team. And, that's difficult for people to understand.
I can understand that, being a sort of third team level player.
But if you want to secure a second team, you've got to have a third team. And so I said, let's try and run a third team. Well, in order to run a third team, you've got to have another ground. There was no other cricket ground in Buxton. So there were lots of things going on, but just to cut a long story short, we now have a second ground where Burbage Cricket Club used to play, interestingly. So there's a bit of a kind of reclaiming of cricket heritage there, out at Green Lane. Lovely setting, just below Solomon's Temple over there. I don't know if it's coming out on the camera, but Burbage Cricket Club played there between the wars and up to about 1963. And our second ground is there, but we got a Sport England grant for that. And so we were trying to grow the club and get more people playing and get our juniors playing on Saturday afternoons as soon as they can. So get our under-13s playing Saturday cricket and thinking, this is what I want to do with my Saturday afternoon. And it's been successful. It's hard work. We have to keep working at it, and lots of volunteers are involved in doing that.
How did you go about getting the young players in? The All-Stars set up, local T20 schools?
I genuinely mean this. I've taken seriously, whenever the Derbyshire Cricket Board have suggested things or whatever, initiatives things that ought to do, we ought to try. Generally, they're always good things, and therefore I've embraced them. And something like All Stars, or being involved in the district cricket, being as much involved in district cricket as possible, which we weren't as a club for a variety of reasons. But trying to shift that whole perception and getting involved, and things like All Stars, I think is tremendous. There are strengths, they're great strengths, and maybe one or two weaknesses of it, but undoubtedly it's very positive.
From the kids love it when they come.
Kids love it. We've had good numbers and positive feedback, like all these things. Keeping kids and parents involved, retaining them, that's a challenge. But we have that challenge every year with everybody.
Yeah, and you get kids, girls and boys now.
Yeah, girls and boys. We'd love to have more girls here. It's a particular burden of mine. We'd love to have girls teams, but we're not quite there. But we've got girls playing regularly in our boys teams.
Yeah, so the girls are there are still some girls who are sufficiently interested to keep coming back.
Yeah, they love it.
Yeah, and beat the boys up.
Yeah, that's right, and be better than the boys.
Yeah, so you've gotten some good prospects amongst the little ones at the moment.
We've got some great little players. Yeah, I mean, great little players. Yeah, I mean, it's exciting. I mean, we've had a good patch with a number of juniors who are now playing in the first team. And we've got some good players coming, but it's hard work running a club, and every year you can't take your eye off it for a year. You've got to keep working hard to recruit coaches, volunteers, juniors, contact with schools, whatever it may be.
A busy time as an organiser.
A busy time as an organiser. We've got more people involved, which is great.
Have you just done that by personal charm, or?
Well, I'm not the only one who's done it.
Yeah. I'm more personally charming people than you are.
I'm actually a firm believer that, and it's hard to do because sometimes with any voluntary club, you're just keeping things running, keeping balls in the air, and then you toss them up and whatever. And if that metaphor's okay, but it's finding people who begin to get a real passion and a commitment to doing things, and when you find that person, then the club begins to grow.
Yeah, you generate your own rapport.
Yeah, well, things begin to grow. Things begin because they have ideas. Yeah. They drive things forward. Yeah. Sometimes we're just keeping things ticking over because that's all we can do. But when you find people, it's interesting. You met our two guys who retired on the ground. We had an outstanding guy who did the ground for many years. We've had a number of people, and then he stepped down, and the quality of the square was absolutely fantastic. A guy called Nick Smith who did the ground. Before that, a guy called Alan Burgess. They did the ground. The square is tremendous here and has been for many years. Nick, stepped down, and we found these two guys who hadn't actually got much interest beforehand, and they've just taken to it. They love it, and when you get that in a club, you're not press ganging people, if you understand what I'm saying. Yeah. You begin to get a tremendous return.
Yeah, it's better to provide some kind of incentive than.
And people get a passion for it rather than I've got to do this.
Other things that it involves with your being chairman, that's talking to other club chairmen, I take it.
I think my son would call me a badger or a cricket nerd, in that if I go to a club, another club, I'm always looking around at the way they do things, and I'm talking to people. It's interesting, we're talking about Mike Taylor at Chesterfield. One of my sons played there for a while, and I listened to Mike. What was he doing? But others, wherever I go, you put me in within 500 yards of a cricket club, I will go and walk round it, and I'll see what they do.
We could do that here. That's a good idea.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. And I'm always talking to people about what their best practice is, their ideas. But that's who I am, you see. And I can give you loads of examples of
Can you give us one in a couple of minutes?
In a couple of minutes.
You can always come back.
Well, interestingly, we put this decking in. Just what we're sitting on this decking, and it's terribly slippy, as everybody knows. If you don't keep your decking washed. And I happened to be at Lord's, and I noticed that they had these anti-slip strips down. So I thought we'll do that. not because it's Lords, but because they're just anti-slip
Yeah,
strips
gosh,
and
it's a
get
good
them down.
idea.
But I can, give lots of examples about the way people do grounds or whatever. Interestingly, our sight screens at the end at the ground were dilapidated. They were actually boards, and they were rotten. And I happened to notice at a number of grounds, they had sight screen sheet kind of stuff, material, and we were wondering what to do. And people said, "Oh, we just chuck them out." And I said, "No, you can use them. Lots of clubs lose the boarding on them if they've been wood or rotten plastic, and just put sight screen sheet up, and there they are at the end of the ground. So I'm always looking around for stuff, as are other people, because actually club members will come back from other clubs and say they did this at so and so. Why can't we do it?
You have good relationships with the clubs you play, and you visit their clubs. And
well, one of the interesting things about Buxton is we've probably been in more leagues than most clubs, because between the wars we were in what was the old Central Derbyshire League, it was called. The club then was actually in the Manchester Association, which meant actually going all the way up to Lytham and Lytham St Anne's, amazingly huge distances in the old Manchester Association. And then the club left the Manchester Association and joined the North Staffs and South Cheshire League. So we were really basically we were a Derbyshire club playing entirely in Staffordshire, of course, which Derbyshire's had a historically strong links with.
And league's only about.
And league's only league's 10 miles down the road, or whatever, a few miles down the road, and similar type of town to Buxton actually. And then we had to leave the North Staffs when we were struggling, and we joined the Derbyshire and Cheshire League around here. Very proud league, and a lot to be said for it. And then in the last 3 years we've joined the Derbyshire County League. So, we've been around in different leagues and in different settings.
Oh well, that's a good point to end this this little chat, but a very good point to start the next one. So Bob, for the time being, thank you very much.
Okay.